This weekend, we celebrate Catholic Communications Sunday in the Diocese of Springfield. As part of our special weekend, we bring you a profile of someone familiar to many of you, especially if you watch our Sunday Chalice of Salvation Mass. Marie Renaud has been involved with Chalice for more than 4 decades. Peggy Weber now brings us this story of a faith-filled woman dedicated to a television ministry and its many loyal viewers.
Marie Renaud could be called a long-term lady. She graduated from high school and went to work for the Springfield School Department in 1957. She stayed there until her retirement in 2002. She began working with the Chalice of Salvation Ministry in 1970, and she is still there each week.
I stick with it. I really do. I'm a long-term person.
That commitment and perseverance have been a hallmark for Marie. She recalls that growing up in the south end of Springfield, going to Confraternity of Christian Doctrine classes, CCD, and church was a given.
That's how we were brought up. We were brought up in an Italian family and always go to church. That was the most important thing. If you couldn't go to church, you didn't go out that day.
Marie speaks lovingly of her mother and father, Rose and Myron Mazzio, and how her mother taught her to sew at an early age.
If we got into any kind of trouble whatsoever, Mother never really punished us in any way, but gave us something to do.
That something was sewing or embroidering or crocheting. However, it wasn't until Marie retired from her job that she began another great commitment in her life, quilting. Since then, she has made scores of quilts and sees a connection to her faith.
Quilting is a lot like doing a prayer, because when you're working on them, you're very solemn. You're not making a whole lot of noise.
The 72-year-old, who does not look her age, knows a lot about the power of prayer. She says she is recognized by many people because she is seen each week on Chalice, reading the Prayer of the Faithful. People often comment to her on how Chalice of Salvation touches them.
I think it's because of the outreach to the people in nursing homes, hospitals, people that can't get out of their own homes even to go to Mass. And you'd be surprised how many of their family members you meet up with on the street, and they'll say, gee, my mother watches you every single week.
Marie's involvement with Chalice began with her late husband, Alberic Renaud. Marie says she started going up to Proven Mountain to WWLP TV 22 when she was dating Alberic. They were married in 1970.
He was older than myself, and he started with Father Fidelis Rice and with Bishop Weldon. And every Sunday they would go up to the program.
Her husband, an accomplished photographer, took photos for Chalice and the Catholic Observer. She said they often had to walk up the hill to get to the studio in bad weather.
When it snowed out and they didn't plow the roads, we had to walk up through the snow. Well, I followed him and Bishop Weldon up one morning. Now they were already at the top of the hill, and here I'm trudging along, but I had a quick way going down. I just slid down on my butt.
Marie has that rare combination in the person. She stays the course and remains committed, yet she's also able to adapt to new things such as technology, changes in the church, and changes in the world. And she does it all with a smile.
Marie's smile is a constant each week as she helps produce the Chalice of Salvation Mass. She has been reading the Prayer of the Faithful for years. In addition, Marie also serves as the sacristan and prepares the altar each week. She is the floor manager and keeps track of the time for the show, and she is the greeter and welcomes the studio audience, who help bring up the gifts. She also runs the teleprompter, where she also had to adapt.
I used to run a prompter using paper, and you'd have to hand feed it, and on a very hot, muggy, sticky day, it would stick. So you'd have to hurry up and pull it out and just run it by itself over so that they could still read the prompter.
Now she uses a computer. She also has joined her quilting skills to the Chalice ministry by making some quilted altar cloths. Passionist brother Terrence Scanlon says his community appreciates her many years of service and talent. Marie says she especially appreciates the Passionist community, who have been with her throughout her life and helped her when her husband died in 1987. Almost a quarter of a century later, she speaks lovingly of her husband and how he is a connection to Chalice today.
He was a very dedicated man. As a matter of fact, when Brother Terry first came to work for us, my husband just loved him. And he decided, well, he likes cameras just like my husband. So they would both come to the house. You know, we'd have dinner here for Brother Terry. And all the cameras would come out. They'd be all over the floor, and they'd be discussing cameras for hours. They just got along so well together.
Marie, too, has an interest in cameras, and many of her photos adorn her home. Some reflect the many places she has visited. She likes traveling and learning new things and meeting lots of people. Her openness and positive attitude have helped her as a steady presence on Chalice of Salvation. It is a ministry that is her own beautiful quilt of memories, service, and prayer.
Well, we certainly do appreciate all that Marie does here, and her quilts are beautiful. I actually feel inspired to rejuvenate the sewing skills I learned in 7th grade home ec. And our thanks as well to those who generously will support our Catholic Communications Campaign collection.